Afternoon, everyone. My name is Tracy. I am a member of Appliques with Character, and today I will be showing you how to embroider an applique piece onto a hooded towel. Today we'll just be going over the hooded portion, and we'll be going over the Island Princess Peaker, which we know as Moana. Before we get started, just a few things that you guys will need. You will need stabilizer, which I already have hooped onto my 5x7 hoop. Just want to show you guys, and I'll explain this line later on. Thread, your embroidery machine. Today I will be using my Brother Entrepreneur Pro X PR 1050. It's a 10 needle multi-needle machine. I'll be using these vinyls from fabricmarinevinyl.com, and also this green with gold glitter flake from My Punk Broidery. You'll also need some embroidery scissors. I have these small curved scissors, Fiskars from Walmart. These work perfect for me for my applique pieces, or if you're used to using the duckbill scissors, I do own those, but I usually use those with fabric, just personal choice. Also, you'll need water-soluble stabilizer later on when we get to doing the satin stitches. You don't want the satin stitches to get caught up into the threads of the towel. So we'll be using water-soluble stabilizer, which we know as WSS. You'll also need a towel, and usually you can use a hand towel, or this is what I did. I cut a full towel into 4 pieces. So I'm actually using, this towel is from Target, and as you guys see, it does have this band here, which I don't mind using. Okay, and then some towels do not come with the band, so I do use this. I do cut my towels, I think lengthwise 21 inches, height is about 16 or so. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing I like to do is find the middle of my towel, because I need to know where to place it onto my hoop. So I found the center, so I'm going to put that to the side. Also, on my 5x7 hoop that's already have the stabilizer hooped, some people float their towels, some people hoop their towels. I like to float my towel. So I draw the middle line, which is the middle little dash here and there. So I drew a line because I know that's going to be the middle part of my design. So as we get started, the first thing I'm going to do is stitch the placement stitch twice. The first time is because I need to know where my towel is going to be placed, and second time, that's when we actually start the beginning of the design. So I'm going to stitch the placement stitch of her face, because that's the first stitch here. All right, so that sound that you guys hear is my machine stopping, because I can program it to stop at every certain point. So I'm going to take the hoop out. I'm going to show you guys something. So this line, and usually you'll see a flat line, this is the line that'll help you place your towel. I usually place my towel maybe 1/8 or 1/4 inch down from this line. So therefore your peaker is actually at the edge of the towel. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over just to show you guys. I'm going to take my centerpiece. I didn't mention this earlier, but I do use 504 spray if I'm using medium weight stabilizer, because I ran out of sticky stabilizer, which is a good option. So I'm going to take my middle piece here, and I'm going to place it directly in the middle, but just below that line. And I'm going to show you guys in a second. All right, so here's my towel. If you guys look just above, you'll see the line just right there. So therefore the edge of my towel is right here. So I know my peeker is going to be somewhere near the edge of my towel. Okay, so now I'm going to put my towel back into the machine, and be very mindful when you guys are putting your hoops back into the machine. Make sure you guys are hearing the click, because if you do not hear the click, that means the pattern can be stitched incorrectly. Okay, I'm just going to move this out the way. And carefully move it out the way. This is just me moving my machine so I can move the top part out the way. All right, so like I mentioned before, I'm going to do, this is the start of the design, but the reason I did the first placement is just to know where I'm going to put the bottom edge of my towel. So I'm going to do the placement stitch again. And I use the color black, so I'm able to see where to place my material. All right, so I'm going to bring my machine towards me. As you guys can see, here's the placement. And I'm going to spray just a little bit of the 504 onto the towel and away from my needles. So sometimes when you spray it on the back of the vinyl, it gets on different parts and it's hard to cut around it. So make sure you cover all the edges of the placement stitch. Now the next stitch is what we call the tack down, which will tack down the material in place. And I do this color usually in white, but you can do it in the color of the marine vinyl that you choose, but it's personal preference. All right, so I'm going to cut my piece around, and make sure you cut as close as you can. Some people take it out the hoop. Sometimes I tend not to, only because I don't want to mess up the design, or I just don't want to. But you clearly can take it off the machine and put it right back. So I love these small curved scissors because they get in between the small little creases really well without me cutting the stitches. Move this back just a little bit so I can get to this side. Now, if you nick a stitch or two, it's fine because the satin stitch will cover it. But just be careful that you don't cut the stitches throughout the whole entire design. All right, so that's my piece there. So the next piece is going to be the placement stitch for her hair. And her hair, I chose this to be in black. So we're going to go to the next step. So it's going to do the right side of the hair, the left side, and just the portion of the top of the hair. So once again, we're going to place our material, but I'm just going to spray just parts of the towel where the stitches are. So the first one is going to do is this side and then the right side. I just cut my pieces separately. Or you can do one whole piece. Making sure I covered everything, yes. Be careful with your hands. I just like to make sure my material's down right. Cut this piece off. So hopefully you guys can see the 3 pieces it tacked down. So I'm going to take my machine off the hoop and I'm going to cut around it. So give me a second, because I don't want to have to keep putting the camera down each time. So be careful not to nick the stitches, as I've said before. And cut as close as possible, because you want the satin stitches to cover the entire edge. We're almost there, sorry. But you take your time when you're cutting around the image. All right. All right, so we have her hair cut out. So this is what we have, you guys. How pretty is she coming along? So like I said before, when you're putting back your hoop into the machine, please make sure that you guys hear a click. If you do not hear the click, the machine will stitch as is, and it will not be in the same order that it started with. Okay? So I'm pulling my towel back and out the way. So I'm double checking to make sure both of my notches are in. I do not want the design to be shifted. All right, so the next one is going to be the placement for her leaf crown. I'm gonna spray just a little bit of 504 in that area. And I'm going to place this green glittery vinyl for her leaf crown or tiara. I don't know what it's called, but we'll call it that. All right, so once again, I'm gonna take it out my machine, as you guys can see, and I'm gonna cut around it really quick. And usually the mirror glitter vinyls are usually thick, so be very careful when cutting around them, because this particular one I'm using is really thick. All right. This is what we have so far, you guys. She is going to be pretty. All right, so we're going to put her back onto the hoop. And I'm going to say it again. Please be careful that you hear the click. Oh, and before we do that, I'm going to actually add, this is where I add my water soluble stabilizer. I have the thin clear film. I like to add it when we're about to do the satin stitch, and the next stitch is going to be the satin stitch for her hair. Okay, so I just take a few pins and pin it down on the towel. Some people use water or spray to spray it down. I just pin it down as tight as I can, and I'll show you in a second. All right, so sorry. This is how I have her pinned. Okay, this is going to be out the way. So I'm going to put her back onto the machine, making sure you guys hear the click, because you do not want the design to shift. Okay, and we're just going to push the towel towards the back. All right, so this is what we have so far. So now we're going to do the satin stitch. I'm just double checking my notches are in. I would hate for later to see nothing matches. All right, so that is fine with me, making sure nothing's in the way of the needle. All right, so the next thing is going to do is the satin stitch for her hair, her face, the little crown, her eyes, and everything. So this process usually takes longer. So I'm just going to let it run. And later I'll edit it and just make it speed through just a tad bit so you guys don't have to sit there and watch. But I'm just going to let the machine run. Okay, we are back, and the design is finally finished. How pretty is she? All right, so I'm going to show you guys how I take off the water-soluble stabilizer. So I'm going to take her off the hoop. I'm first going to take the pins off. All right, so I take her out the hoop. And I'm just tearing the back. This is how the back looks. And this is the front. So just the outer part, which is why I like using it after, because it's not scrunched into the design. And then I carefully take my scissors and go through the design and take off the water-soluble stabilizer. I don't like to put water right away, because I don't want to drench the towel. And then I cut any threads that are in the way. She is a beauty. And like I said, any threads that's sticking up, I'm going to cut away. So far, as you guys can see, this whole side is done. And then now I'm going to do the upper part of her hair. She is coming out wonderful. And on the back, I try to clip off the little threads. And what I also do for the towels, because I don't like the backing looking like this, I actually sometimes put a piece of Wonder Under, or I forgot the other name, Gentle Touch, just so the stabilizer can be hidden and it won't be too noticeable. So there we have it. We have our peeker of the Island Princess. She is gorgeous. So on the next segment, I probably will show you guys how to sew the top of the hood and attaching it to the main towel. So this is my segment on just embroidering the applique piece of a peeker. I just see little pieces that I'm gonna snip away. And there she is. Isn't she lovely? She is gorgeous. Thank you for watching. Bye.